Good afternoon, students. This is Arindam Bag here. So, as promised earlier, just for today, my class is about to be, or it is scheduled to be held at 3:15. So, I hope you are all doing fine there. So, our topic is here allegory. So, I'm marking it here. You can see it here. You can see this in your syllabus. This is the syllabus I'm opening here. You can see this. So, our topic is this one, allegory. So let us find what allegory is. So I already shared a ebook with you in your group, and the title page of that book is this one, Literary and Thematic Terms by Edward Quinn. So I'm using this book here. So let us find what allegory means here. What is the definition which has been given over here? So allegory, according to this book, allegory, it is a type of narrative which the surface story reflects at least one other meaning. That means there will be a story, but there will be a different message within it. Traditional allegory frequently employs personification, the use of human characters to represent abstract ideas. Medieval morality plays were allegories in which abstractions such as mankind, good deeds, penance, and death appeared as characters. Now there was a time in the medieval age there were two kind of play was in circulation. The first one was morality and the second one is miracle play. So in the morality play, that means where people were taught regarding the mankind, good deeds, penance, and etc. Those things used to appear on the stage as characters. There are another type of allegory which uses the surface story to refer to historical or political events and persons. So this is also very common. We have some examples over here. Jonathan Swift's Tale of Red Tub, 1704. Here we can see a satirical allegory for the Reformation. And another one is in his Anatomy of Criticism, written in the year 1957. Northrop Frye distinguishes between a continuous allegory, such as the Fairy Queen, which was written between 1590 to 96. It maintains the allegorical meaning throughout the narrative, and intermittent allegory, such as in the Scarlet Letter, 1850. So these are some definitions, these are some information which we can find here. So let us find something else also. Let us use some other references. Now this is what we find over the internet. That was a book actually, and here it is. This is, you can see it is from Wikipedia. So what you got here? So allegory is basically is a literary device. An allegory is a narrative in which a character, place, or event is used to deliver a broader message about the real world, issues, and occurrences. So it is a kind of literary device according to Wikipedia, which is kind of true and right also. It's a type of narrative. It has a character, it might be place or event, which is normally delivered to give a broader message. And remember, in our lower classes, what we have is we have some stories now. There used to be morals, such as the story of that rabbit and tortoise. You remember that one? Slow but steady and win the race, and things like that. There was a story of those that person who lost his eggs in the river, and there was a test. So he actually claims which one actually he belongs. So later on, as a reward, he got the golden eggs, then the silver eggs, and his own eggs. But another person who heard the same story, when he tried and when he said, well, that golden eggs belongs to him, uh, he didn't get it. So you know that story also. So there is a kind of message actually. If you are greedy, then you will not get what what you wish for, and things like that. So it has a broader message about the real world and issues. Author have used allegory throughout history in all forms of art to illustrate or convey complex idea and concepts in ways that are comprehensible or striking to its viewers, readers, and listeners. So this is not the first time allegory has been used. Yeah, allegory has been used for a long time. It has a history. Authors are using it several times. Writers and speakers typically uses allegories to convey semi-hidden or complex meanings throughout symbolic figures, actions, imagery, or events which together create the moral, spiritual, or political meaning the author wishes to convey. So basically, in Bengali, what he says, this is a Rupok. Allegory is kind of Rupok. Many allegories are use personification of abstract concepts. So let us find the etymology. First attested in English in 1382. The word allegory comes from the Latin allegoria. Even if you check that book also, which I have uploaded to your group, M.H. Abrams, Dictionary of Literary Terms, I believe this particular Latin word has been used there, allegoria. The Latinization of the Greek veiled language figurative, which turns in comes from both allos, another different form. So we have some, the origin is basically from Latin and Greek. Now, Northrop Frye, I mentioned that one in that the book of Queen. I mentioned this particular reference. Discussed that he termed a continuum of allegory, a spectrum that ranges from what he termed the naive allegory or the likes of the fairy queen to the more private allegories of modern paradox literature. Now you can see here that in that book allegory is kind of a very simple, but here it has multiple references. We have classical allegories. Now the origin of classical allegory can be traced at the time of Homer, and he used it. So next what you got here, you have some another examples also, such as Plato's allegory of the cave in his work The Republic. I'll be sharing this particular link also for your convenience. I will definitely do that. Now after classical allegory we have biblical allegory. We find that Hebrew Bible. Hebrew is the national language of Israel. It is one of the oldest language, you should know, such as the extended metaphor in Psalm 80 of the vine. And allegorical interpretation of the Bible was a common early Christian practice and continues. This is very common for them. And then medieval allegory, we have medieval allegory. So allegory has an ability to freeze the temporality of a story while infusing it with a spiritual context. Medieval thinking accepted allegory as having a reality underlying any rhetorical or fictional uses. We have some examples over here, such as the Papen Bull Unam Sanctum, where presents themes of the unity of Christendom with the Pope as its head, in which the allegorical details of the metaphors are adduced as facts on which is based a demonstration with the vocabulary of logic. In the 15th century, the enigmatic hypernotomachia, which is it's kind of difficult spelling things like that, with its elaborate woodcut illustrations, show the influence of themed pageants and masks on contemporary allegorical representation as humanistic dialect. Then we have this modern allegory. Since meaningful stories, we have some uh, such as there are some names are mentioned over here, such as the works of Bertolt Brecht, and even some works of science fiction and fantasy, such as the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. Chronicles of Narnia is a very famous series in the Hollywood. Basically, child. It's not like that child. I didn't watch that, but it was very hit. A lot of people talked about it, discussed about it. The story of the falling apple falling into Isaac Newton's head is another famous allegory. It simplified the idea of gravity by depicting a simple way it was supposedly discovered. It also made the scientific revelation well known by condensing the theory into short tale. Now, at the last, we have the poetry and fiction, where allegory has been used. You heard about the Lord of the Rings? This is another very famous Hollywood series, a movie actually. Um, the idea of ring has been there. Then, yeah, we have some list. some unique specimens of these are very important, so important examples. Please remember these things. Edmund Spenser, the Fairy Queen. The several knights in the poem actually stand for several virtues. William Shakespeare, The Tempest, a fight between good and evil on a deserted island. John Bunyan, The Pilgrim's Progress. Yes, the journey of the protagonist, Christian and evangelist, symbolizes the ascension of the soul from earth to heaven. Then we have this one, my favorite, George Orwell, Animal Farm. The pigs stand for political figures of the Russian Revolution. You should try this one. Then we have Arthur Miller, The Crucible. This is also very important. Now, how it has been used in the art, that is also been mentioned. Some name we can see over here. The English schools. There's Artemisia Gentileschi, Allegory of Inclination, sort of portrait, and then we have Sandro Botticelli. Yes, yeah, Botticelli is a famous artist in the year 1482. So these are some um, references, informations uh, which helps us to understand what allegory is. So how many types of allegories we are having here right now? The use of allegory, we can see there are four: biblical, medieval allegory, modern allegory, poetry and fiction. And we got some examples also. Please do remember this. The classical allegory is also there. Sorry, I forgot it. Five types we got here: classical allegory, biblical allegory, medieval allegory, modern allegory, poetry and fiction. So these are the types, and etymology is also explained to you. Find this information over Wikipedia. I'm going to share this link to you, and this is the definition we are having here. So thank you everybody for watching this. Please attend my Google meeting class, which we are going to organize at 3:15, and it will be a short one, only for 30 minutes. It will be end around 3:45, and right after that I'm going to share that Google form. Don't forget to fill it up and submit it, otherwise you won't get your attendance. That Google form is your record of attendance. So thank you again. Please do share and subscribe my channel. For your support, that will be, that means a lot for me. Thank you.